Welcome to the Indiana Sports Beat Radio pregame show for this Saturday afternoon from Iowa City. Jim Coyle joining us there on the field. I'm the coach, SHannon Griffith. Looks like a beautiful sunny day there in Iowa City.
It is absolutely gorgeous, everybody. As you can see right above my head, that is the hospital where the wave takes place. One of the most important things about this entire day, to be honest with you. The greatest tradition in all of sports. Greatly look forward to it. But with that said, we're in one of the great environments in has taken the field, and they are out here today as they prepare to take on an Iowa Hawkeyes team that not many of us are given a chance to win this game. I've been one of those, but I've kind of reevaluated a little bit, Coach, after watching the Rutgers game and Gronowski. It kind of reminded me of how Fernando Mendoza and that offense has come along. We saw it just progress 3 straight weeks. And although it has not been that way quite for Iowa, they made a big jump against Rutgers last week. Started passing the ball a little bit more, getting him out and putting a few wrinkles in their offense. Although their entire total offense, they averaged 338 yards a game, while Indiana's rushing alone for 308. I just don't think they have the horses. They don't have the defensive secondary to slow this offense down unless they can get to the quarterback. But it is absolutely a gorgeous day here at Nile Clinic Stadium, one of the great venues in all sports. Great football fans. Iowa fans love their football. They're great fans. And about 70,000 people are going to be here, man. It's going to be like Memorial Stadium was last week, but louder. And Indiana's going to get a taste of that. And something they're going to need because they, as we all know, they travel to Eugene, Oregon in 2 weeks. But it's a glorious day, and it is perfect for college football, Coach.
Yeah, and, this is that week of the season that you get into where all the teams now that have played their complement of games are all hitting on all cylinders for the most part. And this is a game that Indiana cannot take lightly. They're going to have to be aggressive offensively. I like to see them go a little bit more up-tempo against this Iowa defense because they have to dictate the play. If they allow Iowa to dictate the play, it will be a methodical, boring day is what they're hoping for, and occupy the clock and keep Indiana's offense on the sidelines. So the more Indiana can be aggressive today and go right at this Iowa Hawkeye defense, the better, because you cannot scheme them up and try to run around them. Go right through them and do it for 60 minutes. And hopefully this Indiana defense as well will have an aggressive nature to it and get after Gronowski, but keep him in the pocket. Don't let him get outside and stay in coverage in the secondary.
Absolutely. And speaking of the Indiana defense, of course, thehoosier.com breaking the story that D'Angelo Pond likely not going to play today. And with the bye coming up next week, the open date, I would highly doubt to see a minor injury, but you're not going to chance getting him hurt. It's before Oregon coming up, and so he gets 2 weeks to rest that way. So I don't expect to see him play today. It's doubtful, but it's very doubtful in my mind that he plays. I don't know that really hurts Indiana that much today because Iowa has not shown a great passing attack. Of course, they're going to miss it all there, but I think that they can get past that today with this team. It's going to be interesting to see if Indiana can follow up their performance from the defensive line. Can they get after Gronowski like they did after All-Star last week? If they can do that, that'll change things in a hurry. But it's no start and end in the trenches, man. Who wins that battle? Both sides with the ball. It's going to be interesting. These are better lines than what Indiana faced last week. But another good test, another increase in competition as Indiana goes throughout the season, and with the biggest game yet coming up in 2 weeks. But they have that bye game coming up, which is not a perfect timing.
Yeah, and I hope that it's something that is refs can get it, get the needed rest that D'Angelo needs in a ball game like this today. But this is where they got to step up and rally around each other as a defense. Even though their best corner cover guy out there is not going to be with them potentially today, they got to rally around with what they have and play as a unit like they have all. That in itself will be a huge thing for Indiana to, like you said, to control the line of scrimmage. And hey, they had a great outing last week against Illinois. Illinois right now is up 23-10 on USC. How about
That's
that
a surprise, man. That is a surprise. But that bodes well for Indiana.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what Indiana fans want to see, because now you can't have this. Well, Illinois is not that good. USC's got a hell of an offense, man. And to hold them like that so far, that's big time.
Yeah, it's right now they Illinois just took the score back. Fagan had a big run, but correct is the idea today is that Indiana's offense, if they can get the running game going like they have for 4 straight weeks, averaging over 300 a game, and keep Mendoza clean on the day, as Jim looks like he begged out there because of maybe the situation there. And there you coming back. Keep Mendoza clean on the day. Then I think it bodes well for Indiana. They've got to stay on schedule offensively, and at a bare minimum, put themselves in a situation to have conversion downs of third and medium or less. If they get into a third and long ball game against this Iowa defense, it's going to be a tough sledding day for them, because that feeds in right to what Iowa likes to do on their third down coverage units. And that's where Indiana, if they can avoid that, it's better for them.
Without question, it's going to be interesting to see if Indiana's run game can continue their dominance. 4 straight games with over 300 yards rushing, averages 308 per game. As I said, this is a step up in quality that they're going to be going against with this defensive line. But Indiana has been strong all year at that position, and this is going to be another test for them to see how good are they really. But man, this backfield of Indiana is pretty wild. When you have the 3 that they have, and the Lee Beebe goes down, and Toby Martin stepped in like he was already in there. I said this last week, it was like a conveyor belt. Take that off and put this one on, and just boom, there it goes. And that's got to give defensive coordinators just nightmares. This Indiana offense. First of all, just trying to scheme to stop this running game alone. Now you add in this unbelievably potent passing game that has the quarterback that is leading the nation in touchdown throws, who didn't even throw a touchdown in his first game and has missed the equivalent of another game. So he's basically done that damage in 2 full games, if my math is right. So it's just, I would not want to be a defensive coordinator facing this Indiana offense. But they've got to keep going. They haven't shown everything yet. Indiana has not shown the deep ball yet, and I don't know that we're going to see it today. I don't think that they're really going to need it. So if not, they're probably going to hold that for 2 more weeks when they most definitely will be. We'll find out more about that as Oregon takes on Penn State. Is it right now, maybe? What time is that game, folks? Is that a night game?
Yeah, that's an Oregon at Penn State's a 7:30 kickoff, and it's a whiteout in Nittany Valley land. And talking about today's
they already
game,
did their whiteout.
Yeah, well, they're doing it again. So the betting line has moved up in Indiana's favor to 9.5 as
again.
Yeah. So again, I don't know what it is now, whether it's come back down. I'll search it here in a second with the situation with D'Angelo Pons again, he is a game time decision this afternoon for those that are joining us here a little later than what when Jim kind of broke that through the Hoosier.com, that D'Angelo Pons is a game time decision, probably leaning doubtful for the game this afternoon versus the Hawkeyes. And while you hate to see anything like that with your best cover corner, this is the time that Indiana's defense needs to step up and rally around each other. And whoever steps in that position, it's the next man up mentality.
Yeah, I was trying to look out there and see if he's even dressed. The team right behind me were warming up. But, yeah, like I said, I think Indiana, you're always going to miss a guy like kids. But I think you can get by with the Jay because of, if they were playing Oregon, well, that would be a different story. I would be saying something totally different. But it's also going to be a great test for that Indiana defense. They've got to step up and play through some adversity without having D'Angelo back there, without having one of their leaders. And it gives the opportunity for somebody else to get a lot of reps on them, man. And that is that's crucial as you go through the season. But it's just going to be a fantastic game. I sent out a tweet last night saying, you know what? When I posted in the League.com, I kind of reevaluated my take on this game. First I said, I think it's going to be like 42 to 20, which it still might be. Hell, it could be more. But after watching the film on Gadowski, I'm like, man, their offense is kind of coming together, and this is going to be a clinic, and it's going to be ungodly loud here all the way around. You don't have any places to escape it. It's all black and yellow. It's like a bunch of bumblebees flying around, man. But another test for this offense as well. How are they going to play through that noise? They're going to need that. That's going to be helpful for when they do have to use it. And to Penn State, because both of those places will be even louder. But this is going to be an absolutely great test for the Hoosiers, and one I think that they should come to. They have shown, I believe them to be a top 5 team, because they are so good on both sides of the ball. If that defense of the line is really as good as what we saw last week, these teams are in trouble. My goodness. It's number 919 with 2 yards left. It's one of the top things Indians ever done, and all those records that were set, the most points ever scored in the history of the Big Ten Conference over the top 10 teams, and many, many more. So, but they've got to follow that up. They've gotten a lot of pats on the back, a lot of flowers this week. Some people with some caveats, mea culpas. Not everybody yet. I don't think that everybody's yet stoked. Now, that Illinois USC game will help that, as I said. But Indiana can just help itself, go out, do what it does best. They play mistake-free ball games. That is one of the biggest things they do. They help themselves. I can't remember what team it was. They had Florida. But they had something like 11 or 13 penalties. And I'm like, how the hell do you think you're going to win a game with double-digit penalties?
Right.
Because half of those probably came on an offensive drive. And it's one of the great things that they do. And again, it comes from Griffith. And his attitude, the bar that he sets of excellence, of trying to reach perfection, because that's an unreachable goal. But if that's what you're reaching for, you're always reaching to be the best. And every one of these guys are bought in. It's amazing. They have that same swagger that Signetti has. They carry that same chip on their shoulders that Signetti does. And they have that same belief that Signetti does. So this is a complete transformation of a program. I mean, right through its core. We saw earlier this week Urban Meyer say that he believes that Cincinnati is going to make this a regular thing with him. And I believe that for a year. Why wouldn't it? Because if you're up close enough, you see what's going on. how this team is coached, how well they're coached. I'm not just talking about good men. I'm talking about every position coach. I'm both that one of the MVPs. But as far as Brian and Mike Shanahan and Whitmer, MVPs, they have got a great staff, and they do such a great job. And you can see it on the field of play with these units as they just don't make mistakes. That helps you win ball games.
Yeah, no question as it pertains to that. And I think today, Indiana, in a hostile environment, will face adversity. They're going to have to overcome the crowd noise, as Woody Hayes would say, make the crowd sit on their hands, because there hasn't been a crowd yet win a ball game for a team. All they're there to do is cheer and yell. So today, Indiana has to do themselves a favor and block that out and focus on the task at hand. And again, I think that's Kurt Signetti's wheelhouse, getting a team prepared to play in hostile environments, and they'll have them prepared today. The question is, can Indiana continue to execute at a high level, both offensively and defensively? And if and when adversity hits today, do they handle it with grace and under fire? Because at the end of the day, the team that keeps its cool, lets those type of things roll off their back, and goes out and performs the way they can, then there's no doubt Indiana can win a ball game like this on the road and solidify themselves even more so in the talk of the Big Ten as being a team in the upper echelon. So that's going to be the match today. It's going to be an interesting matchup today with Phil Parker going against the young Mike Shanahan, and then of course Tim Lester versus Brian Haynes, two of the young coaches in the Big Ten. As Indiana, as Jim is pointing out, looks like they're ready to come off the field under the blaring sound of Kinnick Stadium today. But
Niall Kinnick Stadium. Kinnick. Yes, Niall Kinnick. He's a war hero, a famous Iowa Hawkeyes Trophy winner. Great story. World War II hero. Was looking up. But this is going to be fun. But I think it's going to be challenging. This could be a game that Indiana can blow out. Let's be honest. But this could also be a game where Indiana's up, but they're never quite comfortable when it's comfortable. And if that were to be the case, probably wouldn't be a bad thing for Indiana either, because that defensive team that causes you to play through that adversity that we're going to need. And we talked about the noise in the offense. Well, I think the last few games in Notre Dame and Ohio State were wake-up calls, but great learning lessons. As Indiana went into those unbelievable hostile environments, and it did affect the offensive effective things with the tops. Let's talk about and had to go to the silent snap down. It's great that they have fixed that, and probably will have to use it today. So, somebody likes Indiana 31-10. Man, it could be anybody can put any score up right now, and I can say, okay, that's not going to disagree with any score. It could be as low as 9 points. But hey, did you see the Virginia Florida State game, people? It happened. It happened. Florida State beat Alabama. Florida State looked like the real deal. And Virginia, a team that Indiana answered the series with, and they get upset. The number 18. Indiana wins today, and of course, help Indiana go move. Just a reminder is now, hey man, that's why they play the game.
Yeah, it takes 4 quarters to get it done, and sometimes a little extra. Back over your left shoulder there is a big key to today's game, and that's the Indiana defensive line that has been able to get pressure on opposing offenses by just rushing 4 and been a big factor in the run game being very disruptive. And today will be no different against an Iowa team that builds itself around its offensive line and wants to run the football. Today again, we'll have to step up big this afternoon and keep that Iowa offensive line in check and make plays in the backfield for some TFLs and potential sacks this afternoon. That would be huge if they can do what they did last week against Illinois. But as you stated, Jim, this is a different ball club with Iowa, a different offensive line that may be a little bit better than what Indiana faced a week ago. We'll see when the ball gets put up in the air and we get going here at 3:30. It should be a fun day in Iowa City for all those that are joining us here right now and will be watching on TV. Don't forget, about 30 minutes after the conclusion of this game today, Jim and I will be back for the post-game show, and we'll get you a recap of all the things that happened during this ball game this afternoon, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and get you set and ready to go for the next week of being an off week.
All right, so what's the
Say that again, Jim.
What is your prediction? I know the music is so loud.
I think Indiana today is going to be a 27-17 winner in this ball game today, being able to control the line of scrimmage and keep the game moving on at a pace that Indiana dictates from start to finish. I don't see it being any other way than that. However, if Iowa can methodically drain the clock and put Indiana into a sleep mode, that will be a tougher task for Indiana to overcome, and that's why it's imperative they get off to a great start in the first quarter.
Absolutely, getting off to a great start is always paramount, especially when you're on the road. You don't want to have to play from behind. Although Indiana is a team that can play from behind because of their offense, because they have an offense that double scores, scoring drives, and everything. Iowa, on the other hand, they're run the ball, basically. So they'll probably have to go like 5 minutes scoring drives. Iowa is not a team that wants to be down and playing from behind because facing a team like Indiana, who is much faster, who has much quicker scoring abilities, and much more options, is not paramount for yourself. Like I said, that is why they play the game. Remember.
Absolutely. Well, I think we've probably covered it from A to Z here in this little preview show this afternoon here, and with the music being loud and you trying to figure out which way is up. We'll get you everything ready to go for the post-game show right here on Indiana.
Hey, throw out the call-in number. We do have the ability to have some call-ins if you're listening live. Throw the number out right now just so you can write it down, remember it, whatever. Call in during the post-game show. There you go. Call it in. 2-6-7-6-6-0-4-5-0. Again, that's 2-6-6-7-6-0-4-5-0. Second time on the post-game show is Coach Griffith and myself from Niall Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. I'm from Coyle to Coach Griffith. We'll see you on the radio after the game.
All right, Jimmy, good luck, partner. We'll be watching. And remember, right after the game, 30 minutes, the Paul Collins show will be right here as well. Well, that's going to do it here for Jim Coyle. I'm the Coach SHannon Griffith. We'll catch you after the ball game. Good night and good day, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.